to CHGO White Sox podcast. Welcome in to Studio A of our West Loop Studios. My name is Herb Lawrence. Usually I'm in the middle chair, but today Sean Anderson is on assignment, so I'll be taking the hosting duty today. On my left is CHGO's beat reporter for the White Sox. It's Vinnie Duber. Follow him on X at Vinnie Duber, and you can follow me on X at Ecknerwall23. That is my last name, Lawrence, spelled backwards with 2-3 for Robin Ventura. And helping us out today, producing the show, is Sarah Fichter.
Hi.
Sarah's a good person, thorough, Kansas alum. Don't hold that against her. Today,
I don't know. Can't KU alum over there, Mizzou alum right here. We're lucky there's a table between us, Sarah.
Tell me why yesterday was the day I found out you went to Mizzou.
Really? You haven't been paying attention.
I know. I thought
hats,
Ryan.
shirts.
I know. Maybe it's. I just like. Honestly, I'm just blind. I don't look at that stuff.
him and Ryan Herrera do the secret handshake.
Oh, I know Ryan. I know Ryan's doing that. Wave the wheat, though. Anyways.
Yeah. So today, on today's show, we will celebrate a White Sox birthday today. We will also review how he did this year. Also, later on, we will, and our title topic, we'll be talking about FOMO, and not necessarily Whit Merrifield, but I got you in there. Yeah, I got you, because I know you guys are going to be mad about Whit Merrifield. But we're going to be talking about today being the anniversary of Jose Abreu signing with the Houston Astros last year, and if you get FOMO when a good team has interest in the players that you're rumored to be having interest in. And so we'll get to that in time. But our icebreaker question, over the weekend, I don't know if you guys saw, Luis Robert Jr., White Sox center fielder, superstar by himself, was in a video. I mean, looking good, looking sharp. The video was by Mike Towers.
When you say video, you mean music video.
A music video.
This is Yohan Moncada, the sequel right here. This is starring Luis Robert Jr.
And Mikey Towers, M-Y-K-E, Mike Towers. The video is called La Falda, which I've looked up. It looks like it's called The Skirt. Literally was the video it's called. And that's what the video is all about. The man just talking about some lady's skirt the whole damn time. But the thing that always trips me out is when they have athletes in videos or commercials and they have to throw it over your face, like smash you in the face that this is Luis Robert Jr.
It's not a good sign.
No, they're in the video, and I know if you're listening on the podcast, you can't see it, but Sarah just showed a couple of the stills from the video. He has his White Sox jersey top on with Robert Jr. in the back, the 88 in the front, the SOX on the left side of the chest, and it always reminds me of old commercial. I don't know if you remember. I think it was a Geico commercial. It's like, hey, what are you doing here, all-pro linebacker Brian Orakpo? It's just like, if he's not that popular, you don't put him in the commercial. You know, it's kind of weird, but I would have known Luis Robert Jr. in that video, and literally he's in that video for 15 seconds. So this is not necessarily about Luis Robert Jr. or Yohan Moncada, but it is about athletes and then musicians, like why the crossover so much. And I'll go over some of these athletes who had who had a music career for a brief time, and then
that's a very, very lenient definition of career, music career.
There's only a couple that are actual musicians that you can say that's respect. And also the opposite. We talked the other day about Chris Gaines / Garth Brooks being in spring training a couple times with the Padres and the Mets. So the musicians also want to be athletes all the time. But is there a musician or athlete that you saw transition into a musician and you're like, respect?
The answer is no. Okay. I mean, I don't think I can't really think of. You're welcome to throw me an example that I'm not thinking of, but off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone who did it and it wasn't laughable, with the exception maybe of Bernie Williams.
Boom.
Bernie Williams,
you got it.
Was like a really good like classical guitar player.
Yes.
And like, you know, has albums and concerts and stuff, and like that he didn't try to sing, I think is probably what sealed the deal there. But, you know, showing off an actual other talent. But other than that, the best I can do in terms of a compliment would be like to compliment a musician's fandom, let's say, or an athlete's fandom of the opposite. Certainly Geddy Lee comes to mind from Rush and his love of baseball, but you mentioned Garth Brooks. There's a whole ton of them out there. There's Eddie Vedder up on the north side, some of the hip-hop guys with the Sox and all of that. The fandom, I think you can compliment. Outside of Bernie Williams, I'm not sure I can compliment any of the crossover attempts.
Yeah, and Bernie Williams, he was 16 years with the major league team, the New York Yankees, most likely. Bruce Springsteen, John Cicada, and Bella Fleck are the artists that he worked with. But yeah, he's been classically trained as a guitarist. And there's one other guy that I can name off the top of my head. His name was Wayman Tisdale, former NBA player, and then he became a bassist, a jazz bassist. And unfortunately, he has passed ever since, but I think he won a couple Grammys because he was just so good. Mostly like smooth jazz. I don't know if you were a WNU Wave guy back in the day. I was a big-time fan. So I heard Wayman Tisdale, and there's no slight to his basketball career. His basketball career was solid, but his music career was the stuff. And so I think that when I have people in the offseason going through their second lives and Luis Robert Jr. showing up in a music video, or Yohan Moncada, and I know White Sox fans like, oh no, he's in a music video. After Yohan was in a music video, he wasn't good. He was disaster personnel. Calm down, man. The man's just jamming. He's just having a good time, catching a baseball, saving a young dame.
They did not let Luis sing, also, if you noticed. Yeah.
No.
Yohan sang. That was his song. Oof. Luis, they didn't. They just said, "Why don't you just put the jersey on and look nice?"
Yeah, and so he's in the video. He's like, he catches a ball from in front of a girl before she gets hit with the baseball, and then takes over the batting and then hits it to out of earth, and then you don't see him ever again.
I was gonna say he's in it for like 2 seconds.
It is the weirdest thing in the world. Like, it was just like this guy, Mike Towers, like, you know, I'm friends with Luis Robert Jr., and he has to wear his jersey so you guys know who he is.
I have, it will not surprise no one to learn, I've never been invited to like a mansion pool party with a lot of beautiful people. Is there just like random baseball being played in like next to the pool? That doesn't seem like something that is actually happening.
Yeah, you're having a good time.
People are just like hanging out talking, and then there's one dude just like tossing a ball up and hitting the ball like in like 4 feet from the house.
While these ladies are scantily clad, like not wanting to play baseball, just wanting to talk and chill out. Let me read some of these lyrics to you about La Falda.
Should you? Are they appropriate?
They're very corny. I guarantee the Spanish version, like the actually speaking Spanish, sounds smooth
through Google Translate. Not as nice.
But this is actual lyrics from a rough lyrics translator. It says that Chiquita skirt, how pretty it looks on you. I used to see it every day. Now it's whenever I can. That's a hit. That's a hit in the Latino world, man. I mean, I guarantee you can do this. And then he starts lamenting.
I'm sure you throw Bob Dylan through a translator into another language. It's kind of clunky as well.
Yeah, he's talking about she's doing her bachelor's degree. She's been eating well for a while. Don't leave a trace. I came up with Yannick and Chaco for the Raptor. There's no more substance that's in supply. Alcohol made the friend want to kiss. I unwittingly touched her, and she climbed it through a window.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, these lyrics are
don't
really
rhyme. It doesn't rhyme either.
No, he didn't. I mean, I'm sure
in another language
in
it
Spanish
probably
it was all
does.
good,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's always a weird thing to see your favorite athlete out of his element, because those are really big people. Like, even in the video, you see him like around normal people, and you're like, golly, he is just a huge human. And then these are just regular people just walking around. I don't know if you ever seen Fozzie. The
Muppet?
No.
Fozzie Bear? Seen Fozzie Bear all the time.
No, Y2K, the wrestler. He was in a band called Fozzie.
It's like you just put you through Google Translate. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was in a band called Fozzie, and he's just around the regular band members, and he's just like looking all like big and juiced out, and so it looks really weird when a regular athlete hangs around musicians, because musicians are usually a little svelte, a little a little wiry, and you have I think Crispin Y. No, it's not Crispin Y. I'm thinking of his real name. Y2J. Jim, what's Y2J's real name? Jericho, yes. Chris Jericho being around him. AJ with the help right there. Thank you very much. But it's always weird to see these people around other people that are not just, athletes. And so you don't get the perspective. I remember when I go into a locker room one time, and Frank Thomas was sitting down, and he was by himself. And I'm not small. I'm 5'10" on the good day. And he's like sitting down as tall as I am. I'm like, golly. Just like, that's two different worlds. Those are two different people. Same thing with Carlos Zambrano. I don't know if you ever met him, but
I did not meet Carlos Zambrano. I met Frank Thomas, big guy.
Just like, I have big hands, and I got to shake Frank Thomas's hand. I got to shake Carlson Brown's hands, and then Harold Baines' hands one time in the lounge, and I was just like, man, those are different people. Like, my hands are decently big, and Harold Baines just enveloped mine with his handshake and almost crushed my hands. I was like, yeah, that's a different human. And so that's whenever I see them out of their element, not in the clubhouse, I'm like, yeah, regular people are get to see how big these people are and how much farther away from baseball and any sport that they can play. That's why it's always ridiculous when people's like, yeah, I can hit in Major League Baseball, or I can throw a pass in football. No, you can't. You're not close to what these people are, and you get to see them all the time. But you got some height on you, so you actually can look these guys eye to eye.
Throwback. Yeah. Well, I was going to say throwback to a couple weeks ago when I said I could, what was it? I could hit a home run.
You said you'd get a hit off Chris Sale.
8 tries. I said all I needed was 8 tries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
That's
just
wrong.
Throwback.
Yeah,
it's wrong.
Yeah, you wouldn't get a hit. Like, you wouldn't hit bat to ball.
No.
And not me either. It's a ridiculous thing. On to the next topic. We have a birthday to celebrate today, Vinny. Do you know whose birthday it is today?
I do, yes.
It is the great Pedro Grifol. He is turning 53 today. Pedro Grifol, 53 years old, first-year manager of the White Sox. On everybody's birthday, I know usually I would crap on Pedro Grifol because I didn't think that he did a great job in his first year managing, but I'm also a guy that says managers don't matter that much, so how can I be both people? So on his birthday, everybody deserves to have a good day and have good things said about him. Firstly, Vinny, you dealt with him the most. Did you see any transition from when you first met him back when the press conference started last year and from the end of the year where he seemed a little bit more introspective?
Yeah, well, listen, I think that he was pretty open about the lessons that he had learned and the way the experience went for him. Certainly, when he's being introduced at a press conference, when he's at spring training, it's all excitement to get going. I mean, this is a guy who was a major league bench coach. He had a front row seat. He had the closest seat you can have to what that manager's job is like, and yet by the end of the year, he was saying, man, I did not realize that it was going to be like this. And so I think that it's probably something you can only find out by going through it. Certainly, if your assistant coaches don't even know what it's going to be like exactly. Listen, he had everything that possibly could have go wrong for him in his first year. It's not an excuse. He's the manager. They lost 101 games. He's the manager. Obviously he bears a significant percentage of the blame for that. But that being said, like you were alluding to, he's not the guy going up there taking the at-bats. He's not the guy going up there throwing the pitches. And so I think a lot of the stuff that he said at his opening or his introductory press conference that fans responded to so positively, those were presented as, for lack of a better term, promises, right?
Yeah.
We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And by the end of it, I think everybody on the outside, at least, I'm sure he's still confident he can get the team to that point, but everybody on the outside was like, that was you saying what you wanted to happen, not necessarily what was going to happen, because obviously it didn't happen. Now, he's going to go through and do things differently, I'm sure, as he's already said that he's going to do, to try and bring those things into reality, to make the team play the way that he wants to. And it does really seem, when we listen to Chris Getz, that they are very much on the same page in terms of what kind of baseball they want to see this White Sox team play. So if you can match the personnel with the intent, with the lessons learned, I'm not saying it's all going to turn around in one season, but you might see something a lot closer to what he was, again, for lack of a better term, promising, in terms of what the team is going to look like, what the style of play is going to look like. I think he learned an awful lot in that 1 year. How could you not? Now it's just a matter of, will he have the resources and will he have the ability to, now with another chance, try to shape things in the way that he wants them to look.
And to speak to that, he said in September, I'm not going to go into specifics, but there are things I would change. I got a list of things I went well and a list of things that need to be improved upon. I learned a lot of patience. Sometimes I had patience, sometimes I didn't. Recently, I learned I need to have more patience. There are a certain way to envision this club playing, and I'm going to be a little tougher on that moving forward in 24 and beyond. At times, we're okay with that in that regard, but at other times, I wasn't really happy on how we went about it. And it's not just the players, it's all of us. There are adjustments that we have to make in this building from player standpoint, from our coaching staff as well. And the one thing I like about that, or a lot of things I like about it, he recognizes what's wrong with the team, takes self-ownership, globalizes a little bit, but it is a global thing. Like I said before, he can't do anything about the players going up there not doing what he wants to. I mean, obviously, there was one player in particular not listening to him like he wanted to, and that was Oscar Colas, but he's a rookie, so you can easily send him down. And maybe there are more people in that clubhouse not listening to him because maybe they don't respect him as much because his record started off as 7-21 when he first started. And so I can understand why players might be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But also I think that it takes a lot of humility to say, hey, man, I was messed up. I messed up a couple things. I miscalculated that there are going to be leaders in this clubhouse and that there are people going to be leading, so I didn't have to. And I know his second year is going to be tough because the payroll looks like it's going to be pared down from about the 180 mark to I don't know what it is, but as the first couple of moves of the offseason has started, I think that we kind of get an idea of what's going down with the White Sox. So he might have a tougher time because the players might not be as good as the talent he had before, but they'll play the way he wants to play. And I think that he and Chris Getz believe that having lesser talent, and put those in quotes, might be a better thing for this team because then you have people who are a little bit more in tune to what his message is, and then they can listen to him. So I like that he has a little bit of more humility, that he's going to take a little more leadership role next year, as I think any manager should, because his most important job is to manage the clubhouse. The lineup will take care of itself most days. We'll still bitch about it, 100%. Don't even worry about it. We'll got you, Pedro. But the people in the clubhouse, they need to know that you got their back and they got yours. And if you got to set the precedent in February when you started spring training, do it. And if people don't like it, they can always get shipped out, because it looks like Pedro has a pretty good, he has Chris Getz's ear, and he has a good working relationship early on with them because they're making good moves right now. And I think that Pedro has a good relationship with the guy, and I don't think he's on the hot seat necessarily like a guy who will be 61 and 101 usually would be, because it's his first year. So I'm good with Pedro. Congratulations on your birthday, 53. I hope you celebrate it. I hope you're watching, Pedro. I hope by this time next year we're celebrating an AL Central championship, maybe a second round appearance in the playoffs. I'm hoping, guys. I'm not putting this out there as an actual thing because, it's really hard to do. But let's get to the third topic of the day, and it is official, Vinny. Paul DeJong is a Chicago White Sox. He signed a surprisingly low 1 year, $1,700,000 deal with the White Sox, with some incentives built in there if he gets certain markers. So, Vinny, what's your first thoughts about the contract, how short it is, and the money that Paul DeJong got from the White Sox?
Well, the length, the fact that it's only 1 year is very obvious, I think, for a shortstop. You're bringing in a guy who is probably just keeping that seat warm for Colson Montgomery, who is one of the highest-rated prospects in baseball. Obviously, we've talked about, and there are a lot of questions about whether Colson will continue to play shortstop once he reaches the major leagues, but the way this is set up right now, the path forward for this team seems to feature Colson Montgomery as the shortstop. And, hey, that might come as soon as before the end of next season. And so if you're going to bring in somebody who's not part of the long-term planning, or certainly not part of the long-term planning at the position that they play, Paul DeJong probably, that's the kind of guy you're getting for 1 year for cheaper than $2 million. That's less than Elvis Andrus was paid last year when he signed on the first day of spring camp to be the team's second baseman. So I think the affordability, if you want to call it that, as well as the length of the contract, very much are reflective of the fact that Colson Montgomery is the top-ranked prospect in the organization. Other than that, this is not a move that I don't think is exciting fans too much. Again, it's a placeholder move. I'm not quite sure how many people would be excited by that, but here is Chris Getz again kind of delivering on the things he said he wanted to do, improving the defense on the infield specifically. If indeed, and we don't know whether Nicky Lopez is going to end up at the top of the second base depth chart or not, but if indeed that opening day middle infield is Paul DeJong and Nicky Lopez, they've done a really good job of improving the defense up the middle on the infield. Now, there's more positions to fill, obviously, right field. We don't know what's going to happen at catcher. And like I said, is there another second baseman to come in here? So a lot of moves still to be made, but hey, the defense is better. There's no doubt about that. And Tim Anderson, who's a 2-time All-Star, who I think both you and I think can recapture that batting champ level performance that he's turned in the past, they decided to move on from him. They saved. Now they're paying his replacement about $12 million less than they would have had to pay him. But on top of it all, not only is the defense better with Paul DeJong, the power is improved as well. Paul DeJong did not have a good year last year. He played for 3 different teams. I believe, did he even play 200 games? Or, did he even play 100 games? I don't think so. I think he played 81 with the Cardinals and then less than 20 each with his 2 other teams. I might be wrong on those numbers, but it's right around there. He hit 14 home runs. That's not a lot, but Tim Anderson hit 1. And so if you're talking about an upgrade on the power department, Paul DeJong technically is that. He's a guy who has hit 30 home runs in a season before, and I believe that's his only season with 20 or more home runs is the time he hit 30. But Tim Anderson hit 1 last year, and he didn't hit too many the year before that either. So if you're talking about is Paul DeJong an upgrade from Tim Anderson, in the aggregate, I don't think so, but he's better at defense, and he hits more home runs. And if those are 2 things you wanted to see from this White Sox team, certainly it's 2 things Chris Getz wanted to see from this White Sox team. There you go.
Yeah, and 112 games last year combined with San Francisco, St. Louis, and Toronto. Yes, like you said, the 14 home runs was probably around his average. 25 his rookie year, 19 his second year, 30 in 2019.
So he did have another 20 homer season.
And then 2021, it was 19 home runs, and then 6 the year before in 2022. So he's declined a little bit, but that is because he didn't play as many games. I think the Cardinals saw that he was declining in power a little bit and in average because his OPS went down ever since he's been a rookie and gave some playing time to other people. But initially, you know me, I was like, Team Tim all the way, and so I was against the move to not give him the team option of $14 million to play in 24 because I just thought, and I still do, that he's going to have a good year. He's going to have a breakout year because he probably needs to for his second big-time contract. And so now looking at how low this contract is, Vinny, I'm just like astonished. It's a good deal. You're getting major league shortstop, period, from Paul DeJong. It might not look great at the plate, but from what we've seen from Tim in the last 6 years, hit or miss. If a ball's hit right to him, if that play is going to be made, especially if it's in Cleveland. And so I feel a little bit better. I know the pitchers do, and I know Chris Getz feels a little bit better that knowing the up-the-middle defense is going to be a little bit more secure. And like you said, you don't necessarily have to do anything for me if you're up the middle, if you're the catcher. Those positions, for me, whatever offense you provide usually is fine for me. You're there more for your defensive skills, especially if you're a catcher. And so if you can hit the ball at the park, let's say he splits the difference and goes to 15 home runs from his high of 30 and then goes from as low as 6 and gets like in the middle, 15, 16 home runs next year for the White Sox. I think every White Sox fan, and he plays the same type of defense, every White Sox fan is like, yeah, I'm a Tim Anderson fan. I love Tim Anderson, but this was a good move to get rid of him. Free up the $12+ million and maybe use that money, and especially if they're going to use that money towards somebody else, like a starting pitcher, which they need, a right fielder, and or another replacement for second base, even though Nicky Lopez is there, slated in there right now. I think it'll be a good move. So while I was a detractor of the hiring of Chris Getz, and I thought the process is still wrong of him hiring Chris Getz the way he did, but in the interim, what's Chris Getz has done, the moves have been of GM quality. They're not like a rookie move. It's not like a rookie mistake. Oh, he's messing up here. There's no obvious things as yet as we head into the winter meetings next week. I think Chris Getz is doing an all right job. So it's hard for me to say that because I want to believe against him because I didn't think the hiring was good. But if it works out eventually, my process of results thing will crumble right in front of me. And hey, I'll be the first one to stand up and say I was wrong. Chris Getz is doing a good job, and so far I think he's doing an all right job for himself. Vinny, can you let the folks know while we take a break about the great things of Goose Island?
Of course. You know me. I love a honkingly good time. Thank you, Sarah.
So delicious.
And so I'm ready to tell you about Chicago's beer and what has been Chicago's beer since 1988. That would be our friends over at Goose Island, who are supporters of us, of course, and we very much appreciate that. I enjoy the 312, as you know. Herb, I know you usually enjoy a beer hug, but here you are today enjoying the full pocket pills, which is what the non-Milwaukee brewers are drinking over at the brewery over there. But of course, you can go down to the Jewels and pick up any number of Goose Island varieties. I'm sure they're going to have something very nice for the holiday season, for winter time. Can't wait to see what that is the next time I'm at the in the beer section over at the store.
The Jewels?
But if you can, if you're like, you know what, I just want to do some sampling. I don't need to go to the Jewels and buy a whole package. Well, you're in luck, because you can go down and grab yourself an Ultra Fresh Brewery exclusive beer at the Goose Island Original Brew House on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or you can head on over to the tap room. That's on Fulton Street in Westtown. They got a bunch of stuff over there. Last time we were over there, we had a whole nice sampling of things, and you can pick and choose what you like, and then maybe you go on over to the Jewels and you find the pack of your pleasure. So if you want a honkingly good time, you got to go ahead and get yourself some Goose Island. They're Chicago's beer, and they have been since 1988.
I saw Sarah checking out the website. You going over to Goose Island? Going to Fulton Street, Fulton Market?
You guys always talk about the tap room, and so I was honestly just getting ideas. I was like, I looked at the address, and I was like, that's
I'm telling you, great place, small bites, beer that you don't get from the store. Like, you get these beers, but you also get brewery fresh beers. Like, I had a Saison.
Yeah.
If you like Saison with some tequila in it, delicious.
When
Very
I like
good.
doing the, what are they called? The trios or the tray?
The flights.
Or flights, thank you. Yeah,
I don't know if
flights.
they do flights over there or not. Probably.
I was
Who's to
saying,
say?
I was like, that's why
We'll have to go today and check and confirm.
That's why I was looking at their
Yeah.
website. I was like, oh.
Sarah, we'll head on over there after the show and do some confirmation.
But Midtown Athletic Clubs has 4 Chicagoland locations: Palatine in the northwest suburbs, Bannockburn in the North Shore, Willowbrook in the southwest suburbs, and Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park. Midtown Palatine is launching a multi-million-dollar transformation of the club, which will be complete in early 2024. Listeners can lock in favorable rates if they join before the year. There's something for everybody. If you're a single person, an engaged person like myself, a married person like Vinnie, there's also people who are just looking for lifestyle changes or holistic changes. It's a great place, and as I always say, it's not like a fitness club that is selling it short. It has fitness equipment, a lot of it, some of your favorite fitness equipment, but also it feels like a community in there. And one,
what's your favorite piece of fitness equipment, would you say?
Well, I like the other day I did this Les Mills body pump class.
Is that a piece of equipment?
It isn't.
The Les Mills body pump?
But they have in that class, while it's, you're doing, aerobic things and cardio things, they have a barbell, and you got to put some extra weights in there. And as a short-armed guy, I love the barbell.
Classic.
Because I can bench press with the best of them.
I need to go over there and see, because my favorite piece of fitness equipment is that thing you see from the 50s where they put that belt around your back and it just shakes you. If they've got that, I might have to be all in.
They don't have, I don't think they have that, but they have a magnet type of thing that does similar things.
Magnet?
Yeah, like you stand on it, it's supposed to help your balance out.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's real nice. One person who went to Midtown said that Midtown Chicago is the nicest fitness club they've ever been to. They have super luxe locker rooms, wet and dry saunas, which I checked out on Monday, premium amenities, amazing indoor and outdoor pools and hot tubs, a collection of boutique fitness studios and more than 100 classes. Like I told you, I took the Les Mills body pump, which was in the theater. You can go to the field for cross-training, ride for cycling. Everybody Fights for boxing, the Samadhi for yoga, or you can go up to the high-intensity training place in the arena. They have the best tennis courts and programming in the sport. This is what they're mostly known for. If you're a longtime Chicagoan, you know that Midtown has indoor and outdoor tennis, pickleball, and paddleball stuff, USTA approved and professional quality all the way. Head on over to midtown.com/CHGO to find out more and tour the Midtown Athletic Club that is nearest you. Today is the anniversary of Jose Abreu signing with the Houston Astros, the dreaded Houston Astros. And I remember last year, Vinny, when we were talking about Jose Abreu, I wanted him on the team, you wanted him on the White Sox, because
thought it'd be good for the White Sox.
It just made sense for the White Sox. And so when I was thinking to myself, man, he's gone, and giving Andrew Vaughn a full shot to play at first base, that's the right thing to do, but also losing your best offensive player, your team leader, your guy that's been here since 2014, your stalwart, was a bad move for the White Sox. And I thought it made it even worse is when the team that signed him were the reigning champion Houston Astros. I was like, if the reigning champions won him and signed him for 3 years for $60 million, why wouldn't the White Sox? So I kind of had a little FOMO. I was like, oh, golly, why are the Cleveland Guardians checking in on him? Why are the Houston Astros signing? The Boston Red Sox even had interest in him. And so I had a little FOMO and saying, man, if the Houston Astros won him, the White Sox should have wanted him because they do good things down there. If they're going to want him, that means that our team should have won him because they have smart minds there. And I'm kind of going through that same thing today, Vinny. I was looking at our partners at PHLY, our Philadelphia version of this. So CHGO, PHLY. If you're not checked it out yet and you're a Phillies fan or Eagles fan or Flyers fan, go check it out. But
do they have a show about the band, the Eagles?
Oh, no, I would not watch that.
I'd be in.
I hate the Eagles.
No, you shouldn't.
I effing hate the Eagles. That's from that movie, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. But, Hotel California just ruined me.
It's a good song.
When you're in California and they play it all the time, it's like, oh,
all the time?
Literally,
like 20% of all songs in history are about California. They could go forever and not repeat.
I would think, you wouldn't like songs about your state or city. I don't like Sweet Home Chicago. I know I'm in the minority in that one.
You're wrong. You probably just know the Blues Brothers version. Go listen to the actual blues song.
I don't know who does it.
Well, the one they play all the time is the Blues Brothers.
Oh, that's the Blues Brother one?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's why I hate it. I don't like the Blues Brothers either.
Wow, you're losing. You're losing your Chicago cred.
Get your ass back to San Diego. But yes, I used to play California, Hotel California all the time, and I was like, ugh, get out of here. And so what I'm thinking is Whit Merrifield, to take another right. Whit Merrifield is getting speculated as being a rumor of the Philadelphia people, the Boston people, other teams who you respect. Well, at least I respect the Philadelphia people's minds. The GM, Dave Dombrowski, the people out in Boston, they just got a new guy in Scott Breslow. Craig Breslow. Scott Greg, I don't know who that is. Craig Breslow. So I respect those minds, and I'm like, if they like him, why don't I like Whit Merrifield? Do I not like Whit Merrifield simply because he's a former Royal and he's been rumored to come to the White Sox even before he got to Toronto, and that I just have this natural pushback for any Royal coming to the White Sox, and this thing kind of opened me up? Or am I just a prisoner to the moment and thinking, man, if other good teams like him, just like Jose Abreu with the Houston Astros, why don't the White Sox like him? Now I want him. It's that weird thing where, when you're young, when, a girl you liked, dated you, and then you kind of stopped liking her. And then when other dudes started liking her, you're like, oh, no, that's my girl. I like her. I like her now. That's what I kind of feel like right now with Whit Merrifield. It's like, no, Phillies. That's our Whit Merrifield. He's the White Sox Whit Merrifield after all this time in the offseason thinking, nah, that would be a bad move for the White Sox. Now I'm like, right field for Whit Merrifield would be an upgrade. And I'm not lying right there, Vinny, am I? Because it would be an upgrade. Anything's an upgrade over the right field the White Sox had last year. So your thoughts on Whit Merrifield and anybody who's in the free agent market getting, rumored, speculated about with good teams. Does that change your mind as a journalist about maybe how you perceive those people?
I don't know about that. I totally get what you're saying, and I think you got to remember that there is more to a player than just what you see on Baseball Reference, right? I mean, I think that you could look at some acquisitions throughout the past and see a good team bringing a guy in for a very specific reason, right? Mm-hmm. We were talking the other day over here with our guy Jim about specialists, right? And would you? Let's say he proposed the hypothetical. Hey, let's say there's a guy. He's terrible at hitting. He doesn't do anything, but he's the best pinch runner in the world, and he's going to steal all these bases for you. Do you want that on your team? And I said, well, I think any team would want him if it's going to help you win. If you're already in a position to utilize that skill set to help you get to where you want to be. A team where the White Sox are, for example, might not benefit a whole ton from bringing in a specialist because they need all the other things to get them to the point where a specialist would put them over the top, right? A team that's already there, the Phillies have been to the NLCS 2 years in a row, were in the World Series 2 years ago, are a team where you could bring in someone like that who might not jump off the page to you as the solution in a line, to be the number 2 hitter in the lineup, the guy to come fill an everyday spot for you, but you send it to the Phillies, or you send them to a solid team. You brought up the Astros with Jose Abreu. You bring up all these teams who are already at the top, and the little bit that guy can give you is what maybe takes you over the top. And so there's a very different way of looking at things for each of these teams. We need XYZ, whereas the other team needs ABC, kind of thing. And that guy might fill the ABC, but not the XYZ. So, I think, to clean some stuff up, I don't know if we saw any actual reports saying that any of these teams are interested in signing them, but you maybe saw some folks saying, oh, it'd be a good fit here, a good fit there, and they're maybe looking at it with that eye, right? Saying, well, that guy can do this for them, and that puts them over the top, whereas the White Sox need the guy they bring in to be an everyday player. They need him to be somebody with a certain on-base percentage, with a certain slugging percentage that has all of these skills and not just 1 or 2 or 3 of them. So I think that's maybe what you got to look at. If the White Sox end up with Whit Merrifield, for example, he's going to be asked to do a lot for the White Sox. He's going to be asked to be probably one of the better offensive players and an everyday player at a position. If somebody else goes and get him, a team that has a second baseman, a team that has a right fielder already, right? Yeah. Maybe he's being brought in to do a very specific number of jobs, for lack of a better term. So that's what maybe makes him, in the eyes of some, a fit in Philadelphia, whereas if the kind of fit that he would need to be on the South Side, maybe he is past that in terms of what he's able to do production-wise in his career. Maybe he is at the point where the stuff that he has done that does show up on Baseball Reference over the last couple of seasons is not enough to fill that role for the White Sox. Then again, the White Sox are maybe looking for some other stuff also, be it somebody who knows the way that Chris Getz and Pedro Grifol want things to be done, somebody that they can rely on in the clubhouse, and someone who, frankly, can just take at bats and take the field in a year where maybe they're not planning on fielding a contending team.
Yeah, and his aggregate stats for last year, not great. He hit 272, 318 on base, and a 382 slugging percentage for a 94 OPS plus. But I want to focus on July, which I got into, and I was like, ooh, Whit Merrifield, 356 batting average, 375 on base with a 622 slugging for a 999 OPS. And he hit 7 home runs that month with a 20 driven in. So if Whit Merrifield is out in the market, I would more rather have him as the second baseman, where you can have him and Nicky Lopez get some time, and then have a right fielder that is all right. It's kind of in the same vein as Paul DeJong, where you're just having placeholder, even though you don't have a necessary guy to take over that spot. I won't know if I sign a big-time player unless it's like Teoscar Hernandez. I know
you're all aboard the Teoscar Hernandez train lately.
The man, 25 home runs a year. That's one of the things the Sox need, is just power. And I know people don't like strikeouts necessarily. The White Sox strike out without power. So might as well be going for the downs if you're going to be striking out anyways and hit 30, run into 30 anyway. So if you can go and get Whit Merrifield and Teoscar Hernandez, we're former Blue Jays team now with those two guys, and I think the team is much improved. And then you have a guy like Nicky Lopez being a super utility guy, which is the perfect spot for him to be in the major leagues, because he fields well, can field a lot of positions, but doesn't hit like a everyday middle infielder. And so, yeah, I'm kind of cooling off on my hatred of Whit Merrifield going with the White Sox, as long as the deal is solid. And yes, AJ, Sean was like, you guys are mentioning Whit Merrifield coming to the White Sox. I'm out. I'm gone. So that's why I send him on an assignment. He cannot be on this episode to be mentioning both Benintendi and Merrifield in the same outfield. Oof, friends, that'll be real tough.
Well, and to get to kind of the title that you made too, the whole FOMO idea, it does speak to kind of what we've been talking about too, which is, do you strike early? Do you move early? We've been hearing, like you said, reports for multiple months now that the White Sox would be interested in adding Whit Merrifield. Is that someone where they're like, we've identified that guy, we need to go get him, like they did with Mike Clevenger, like they did with Yasmani Grandal? Is it, hey, this is what we need to do, is go out and get this guy because he's who we want to fill this role on our team? Or is it going to be more dictated by what the market sets and what other teams might be interested? If you're Whit Merrifield at this point in your career, you're a veteran, right? I mean, you played for a World Series winner already with the Royals, but maybe you want to get back there. The Phillies, to speculate on one team that we were talking about earlier, might get you another World Series ring.
Yeah.
The White Sox in 2024, at least, most likely aren't. So the question becomes then, how does that market play out? Are the White Sox going to be aggressive because it's a person they've identified, or do his priorities lead somewhere else? The FOMO aspect of that is, man, if there are these other speculated fits that might work here for Whit Merrifield, does Chris Getz say, we got to beat these 29 other teams to go secure this guy who we've identified as someone we want?
Yeah, and I would agree with that. And I think that, to take it back to a couple days ago when we were doing the Mailbag Monday and somebody said money was no issue, and you smartly said money is always an issue. Money's the thing that drives them. And I think the White Sox in this whole rumor right here would probably have enough money and more money available to sign Whit Merrifield. And the need, as you were saying, the White Sox need Whit Merrifield, and I'll put those in quotes, to play 150 games for them, while the Phillies might not. They might lead you to play 100 games. Get in there every time when you can, pinch hit late if there's a lefty in the game, if you're out of that game, type of thing. For the White Sox, he would be more of an everyday player. For the Phillies, maybe an everyday player, but with lesser duties and responsibilities and lesser stuff on his back to carry the team, because he's got so much other power things. And while I was looking at Whit Merrifield things, he was on foul territory with A.J. Brzezinski and the boys, and he was talking about, like, he is not in favor of the robot umps and the automatic strike zones. He's not a fan of the pitch clock either.
Old school.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the pitch clock. He's saying pitch clock is pretty much causing injuries, and the owners are not listening to the players, because apparently with the committee, they have 6 owners on the committee and only 4 players to represent it. So if the owners want something, they're always going to get what they want, and they never really adjust to it. So he's thinking that the robot umps thing is coming. I don't know if it's coming next year, but it's coming. But he is not a fan of it. He just wants regular umps to be doing their jobs. He's siding with Bill Miller and the rest of the Umpires Association to keep those people out of there and it be a more human-led game. But I also feel like you've had a lot of time to check and make sure that your calls are right, umps. And throughout these years, you've been protecting bad umpires like Angel Hernandez, et cetera, and they still got jobs. So if you can't do your job correctly, hell, we'll go and get umpires who are precise and have a precise strike zone, and everybody knows the strike zone when they come up, so there's no arguing of balls and strikes. But, yeah, he's very old school. I mean, he's like 35 years old right now, so, damn, he should be old school. He's 34. He'll be turning 35 in January. But we'll be wrapping up the show after this break. Before we leave, I'll be telling you about the great folks at CDJR. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, then we have some great news for you. We're on the same team as Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake. At Ray CDJR, we'll always have able to shop one of Chicago's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during Black Friday sales event at Ray CDJR at Fox Lake, 0% financing is now available on new models all month long. That's not all. Just for listening, you can get a free oil change when you mention CHGO at the service center, or mention CHGO when you book online at raycdjr/service. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, because they are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963. Vinny, let us know about 588-2300.
Empire today. And with Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Herb, those are all positive things.
Great
Empire
things.
today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire can't be beaten on quality, service, speed. So competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply will not carry.
Ridiculous.
I agree. It is ridiculous. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does that is putting flooring in your home that they would not put in theirs. Can you believe it?
It's just bad.
Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not to overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Empire's product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect styles. And what you can do is use the virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will look in your room. Shopping for floors at a big box store can be frustrating. Don't do it. You might talk to someone today who was working in plumbing yesterday. It's all very silly, but flooring is all Empire today does. They live and breathe flooring. They go down on the floor and they inhale flooring.
Don't do that.
So you can be confident that you're getting honest and upfront advice. So go ahead and schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for all the relevant details.
I started eating Hero Bread because I have type 2 diabetes and didn't want to give up my favorite foods like wraps, sandwiches, or quesadillas. And Hero Bread has been great for me, and I'm sure it'll be good for you when you try it out. If you need a low-carb option to fit your lifestyle or dietary constraints, Cole Glass, the founder of Hero Bread, baked 100 muffins per day.
It's just too many muffins, I feel like.
The man's obsessed.
It's never too many muffins.
He's obsessed with making the best bread ever, the perfect blend that fit into his allergy constraints. That's what pushed him to start Hero Bread. I know that when I mention that the flour tortillas have 0 net carbs, 80 calories, and 15 grams of protein, some are worried about the taste, but I'm here to tell you, it tastes like your favorite tortilla. But after you try Hero Bread tortillas, they'll be your favorite. A discount for our first purchase for CHGO fam. 10% off when you put in CHGO at hero.co. Hero makes sliced breads, buns, tortillas that are all available at hero.co or Amazon. They also have fewer calories than the leading national brand, 5 to 10 grams of protein per serving. And right now, Hero Bread is offering CHGO fam 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use the code CHGO to save on Hero Bread today. That's HERO.co to save 10% today.
Now, Herb, I don't know if you saw this, but Sarah is very much against the robot umpires, and I think
21-year-old Sarah, how old are you?
I think what she thinks
23.
is that there's going to be like an actual robot, like C-3PO is going to be
That's
standing
literally
behind
what
the
I was
batter.
thinking.
Is that what you think's going to happen,
And I was
Sarah?
like, the last thing we need right now is some like robot like blowing up on the field or taking over
no,
the
you
field.
don't, Sarah.
She's afraid of a robot
and then locking
revolution.
down the whole stadium, and then everyone's trapped. I'm telling you, I was spinning out. I was spiraling.
You think robot umpires means Terminator? That's what you think is going to happen?
Literally was the first thought in my head, and I was like, I don't like that.
Strike one.
It's a ball. Ball one.
That's
ball
what
two.
I was thinking.
It's like Rosie.
I
from the
understand
Jetsons.
now.
Yeah, right.
But I had to play off that. I was like, I swear to God, if there are robots on that field one day.
We should have a show trying to figure out which robot would make the best umpire. And just so everyone's aware, Mr. Clanky from Backyard Baseball should be eliminated because he already is an umpire. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say Kevin from Saved by the Bell, Screech's robot.
Okay.
It was early. I don't know if they only did it from a couple episodes, but Kevin was great. He was awesome, a robot. Sarah?
I don't want a robot.
You don't like
period.
She's anti-robot.
Yeah.
She doesn't even like fictional robots.
Like the whole AI.
So iRobot is like, you don't even watch that movie because you hate robots so much?
I've seen. Is that the one with Will Smith
Yeah.
in it? Oh yeah, I didn't
Chicago,
like that.
too.
Oh my God, yeah, that one scared me when I was younger. I didn't like it. No,
Some
I don't
of
know.
Will Smith's best
AI
work.
freaks me out too. I'm not about that either.
You don't want an AI robot.
No, I don't.
Or an AI umpire. Would you like an AI umpire?
No,
No.
they freak me out.
Speaking of, that's a great transition. later on this week, we'll have a couple more journalists on our panel in the stead of Sean. I think Friday is guaranteed for the guy that I don't know if we want to mention.
You don't need to. You don't need to. This could be a nice tease, but we'll have some of my press box colleagues dropping by later this week.
So, and we might talk about AI, as Sarah mentioned. Sports Illustrated apparently using some AI to complete some stories and send some things out there, but they're kind of brushing back on that. So we'll discuss more of that later in the week when we have a couple more journalists here to get into it, because that's your jobs, and they're taking away jobs from people who are actually doing the work instead of AI damn people. We all learned from iRobot that AI sucks. Even the AI thought the AI sucked. So that's Sarah Fichter. She thinks we're going to have robot umps.
Oh, but she's pro Wally.
I do like Wally. Yeah,
what if Wally was the umpire? Would you be in favor of that?
See, I'd just go up and give him a hug then or something.
Wally's
Wally's
great.
cute. Yeah, he saved the world.
He did.
Wally's like that BB-8 thing.
Well, no, those are two different things.
Okay. It's a movie. I know Wally.
It's very good.
It's not a circle. It's not a ball.
It's got like tank treads.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you like Wally? Not a fan of BB-8?
No. Yeah,
BB-8's
I do like
great.
R2D2
He's a
though.
little dog.
R2D2 is great. I would use him any day, but he's an honest robot. Like he's a very
That's
like
what we
healthy,
need.
honest
Wow.
robot.
You need a robot to be on the take or something
I need
like
a
that?
robot that has like good morals. That's what I need.
That's a strike. Get out of my face,
Wow.
Pedro Grifol. No. Sarah Fichter, she's producing the show, hates robots.
But
except
she
for Wally.
She likes good robots. But who is she to determine which robots are good and which robots are bad?
I know.
Robots
Wow.
are not. Robot is not good or bad. It's the people who program them.
True. That is wise words from Herb right there.
It's like a dog. That is Vinnie Duber. He is the CHGO White Sox beat writer. My name is Herb Lawrence. You can follow him, firstly, Vinnie Duber, at Vinnie Duber. You can follow me at Ecknerwall23 on the Twitter/X. Sarah, I don't think, has one, but she hates Twitter anyway, so don't
It's
follow
probably a robot. That's probably why she doesn't like it.
That's the one time I'll have AI use it, is they can just do my Twitter for me.
Yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow to be talking about some sports and some White Sox things, and so join us.
Sarah, you don't have the Roomba?
No, I don't have one of those.
Those are clutch.
No, yeah, I've actually, those are fine, but that's not like
They're
that's
fine.
Like,
But now we're
that's
splitting
not like a
hairs here, aren't we?
robot. That's like
Do you
just
enjoy
like,
vacuuming?
That's like a vacuum cleaner. That's
a
just
robot.
like moves.
It's a
Nah,
little
I don't-
robot.
It's a robot.
That's learning your room
Yeah.
learning?
to do it better next
Yeah.
time.
We-
to kill you eventually.
This is what I'm saying.
I literally I have
do have an Alexa,
iRobot at
though.
home, and if are we sponsored by iRobot? No. All right. I have an iRobot at home. I do not turn it on when I'm leaving and my dog is just at the house.
Right?
You think it's going to hurt the dog?
Like,
Has that happened before?
No, but Ziggy doesn't
It
move
could.
when the
Could
robot
it?
when the
It's just a vacuum.
Ziggy doesn't move.
That's what it
and then it
wants
just
it to
scares him. And I just think, maybe one day he'll become self-aware and like, I want to eat this dog, vacuum him up. I know I'm ridiculous for thinking about it. Of course, but I've been trained because all these damn movies where robots just become self-aware
honestly, yeah.
and then start taking over because they're smarter than humans.
I think
eventually that will happen.
I've just been watching too much TV, honestly.
I don't know if you've ever seen those Boston Dynamics people where those things are like chasing down things and flipping. They're like kind of like fake humans. They look like dogs sometimes. I don't know if you've seen those Boston Dynamic robots.
I don't know.
If you want to be scared that the future is going to be dark, those things are coming. Stop making robots that can run. Just make them call strikes so Sarah can be happy.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all their life is for. So, for Sarah, for Vinny, my name's Herb. Thank you for joining CHGO White Sox. Later.
We all silly like the mayor.